So far in this series, we've explored the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls and examined their contents, biblical texts, apocalyptic prophecies, and even lost books of scripture. But with any great historical find comes controversy. Who really owns these scrolls? Why were they hidden away? And why were some of them kept secret for so long? In this episode, we'll unravel the controversies, debates, and mysteries that have surrounded the scrolls since their discovery. If you haven't watched the previous videos, I recommend checking them out. But for now, let's dive into the mysteries of the Dead Sea Scrolls. As with any discovery that threatens to rewrite history, the Dead Sea Scrolls have not been without controversy. Beneath their sacred words lies a labyrinth of disputes, secrecy, and unresolved mysteries. Who owns the scrolls? Who controls access to them? And perhaps most chilling of all, what do we really know about these texts, and what remains hidden from the public eye? The discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls was hailed as one of the greatest archaeological finds of the 20th century. Yet, despite their monumental importance, the road to understanding these ancient texts has been anything but straightforward. The scrolls, their ownership, and their access have sparked debates, controversies, and even scandals that have lasted for decades. Perhaps one of the most persistent controversies surrounding the Dead Sea Scrolls is the question of ownership. Who owns these sacred texts? Should they be in the hands of governments, scholars, or private collectors? And what does it mean for our collective understanding of these writings if their possession is not openly shared? In the early years of the scrolls' discovery, the Israeli government took control of the majority of the scrolls, which were found in the region that was then under Jordanian rule. But when Israel gained control of East Jerusalem after the Six-Day War in 1967, the scrolls became a political and religious flashpoint. Jordan, the Palestinian Authority, and various international scholars have all laid claim to the scrolls, arguing that they belong to the world, not to any one nation. At one point, only a select group of scholars were granted permission to study the scrolls, leading to accusations of secrecy and elitism. It wasn't until the 1990s, nearly half a century after their discovery, that the scrolls were made fully available to the academic community. But by then, the damage had been done. Speculation had run wild. Some believed that the Vatican had influenced the suppression of the scrolls, fearing that they contained information that could challenge traditional Christian doctrine. Did the scrolls contain hidden prophecies? Lost books of the Bible? Evidence of alternate versions of biblical events that the Church did not want revealed? While these theories remain unproven, the secrecy surrounding the early years of the Dead Sea Scrolls research only fueled conspiracy theories and suspicions. Of course, even for those fortunate enough to have access to the scrolls, there was still the monumental challenge of interpreting them. The scrolls are not simply long, intact documents. No, they are fragmented, scattered pieces of ancient puzzles waiting to be pieced together. Some scrolls came in hundreds of pieces, broken into fragments by the ravages of time. Imagine trying to solve a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle, except some of the pieces are missing, others are partially burned, and many are covered in faded ink. This is the reality of working with the Dead Sea Scrolls. To make matters even more difficult, the scrolls contain words written in different languages, primarily Hebrew and Aramaic, but also some Greek. Some phrases are written in scripts so ancient and obscure that their meanings remain uncertain to this day. Could these mysterious markings hold cryptic messages lost to history? Or do they hint at a knowledge we have yet to fully comprehend? And then there are the theological differences. Some scrolls suggest a radical vision of Jewish belief, diverging from mainstream interpretations. Others, such as the Messianic texts, describe two messiahs, one priestly, one kingly, an idea that contradicts later Jewish and Christian traditions of a single messianic figure. Were these texts part of a suppressed tradition, a lost sect, or an alternative interpretation of prophecy that was intentionally left out of the Bible? But it wasn't just the interpretation that caused problems. No, the story of the Dead Sea Scrolls is also marked by scandals, and one of the most significant ones revolves around the issue of forgeries and misidentified fragments. In recent years, a shocking discovery was made. Several Dead Sea Scroll fragments housed in prestigious museums were found to be modern forgeries. These fraudulent pieces had fooled experts for years, demonstrating just how lucrative and dangerous the market for ancient texts had become. And in the 1990s, a new controversy erupted with the discovery of the so-called Dead Sea Scrolls fragments. These were purchased by the Museum of the Bible, but after years of study, experts found that they too were likely modern forgeries, produced with the intent to deceive. How many of the fragments in private collections are truly authentic? And how many are clever imitations, manufactured for profit? And then, of course, there's the question of who wrote the scrolls. The traditional answer has been the Essenes, the group of Jewish mystics who lived in seclusion, away from the corrupting influence of mainstream society. But some scholars have raised doubts about this theory. Could the scrolls have belonged to the temple priests fleeing from Jerusalem before its destruction? Or were they part of a hidden library, a secret collection of forbidden knowledge buried for safekeeping? Some even suggest that the scrolls predate the Essenes entirely and belong to a much older, unknown religious sect. One of the most intriguing theories suggests that some of these writings could have early Christian origins. Certain passages bear striking similarities to the teachings of Jesus and his followers. Could there be a hidden link between the Dead Sea Scrolls and the origins of Christianity? If so, what does that mean for our understanding of religious history? The controversies surrounding the Dead Sea Scrolls remind us that even the most extraordinary discoveries come with complexities. They are not just relics of the past. They are pieces of a puzzle, some of which may never fit together. Yet, the deeper we dive into their mysteries, the more we realize that the search for answers may be the greatest mystery of all. Still, the questions remain. Who controls the scrolls? What do they really reveal? And, perhaps most haunting of all, what truths, forgotten for centuries, will we still uncover? And what secrets are we not meant to know?